basically in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. For the purpose of this interview, you will tell us your name and who you are in the context of Bonaire. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is James Finis. I'm a citizen of Bonaire. Bonaire is a island in the southern Caribbean under the Dutch, one of the Dutch Antilles Islands, next to Venezuela, Curacao, and Aruba. So yes, I'm from the organization Nos Ke Boneiru Bèk. We Want Bonaire Back. And that is a foundation that was established because of the change of constitution and the destruction, break-up of the Netherlands Antilles in 10 October 2010. The Netherlands Antilles as country was dissolved at the time, and then our island Bonaire, together with the other smaller island, Saba and St. Eustatius, were incorporated in the Dutch constitution. But that's where the problem started and went wrong, because it was from our side, illegal annexation, because the people of Bonaire never choose to be integrated, and people from St. Eustatius also never choose to be integrated in the Dutch constitution. So that is where I come from.
Okay, and so your organization, your objectives is to, what you really want to accomplish?
All right. First, I want to accomplish that our rights will be set straight. Meaning we have acquired rights of self-determination, and that every nation, every people has a right to govern themselves. But we were sent back in 2010, back in colonial times, meaning that we are being now ruled. We are now being ruled from The Hague. The Hague and in Netherlands, where our laws and regulations and all are being made, that is not acceptable in this 21st century. That's what is our situation today, and that is where we want to bring a change back to our people, what is our rights. So we are
okay. All right. So what would you say would be your motivation for wanting to see the people of Bonaire experience the freedom from colonial shackles? What motivates you?
What motivates me? I think it's a human nature to decide for themselves, to be their own, have their own say in our own island, our own house, our home. That is a nature of humanity to aspire that, and that is one. That is the most fundamental part. But the second part is that we acquire self-determination rights through the system of modern society civilization with the United Nations, that we aspire, we will recognize rights. And those rights, when I understand that those rights are there for us, we are a small island, because normally when you want to be free, you take a gun and then you go to war. But we are a small island, we cannot do that. We cannot have that. So that's why we understood that the United Nations has a passive legal way that to give countries, like every Caribbean country has went through that process to get their own self-government. So at the end, so that's why our motivation, there's a way that this can be aspired, because most of the people, a lot of people, leaders give up because they don't see a way out, because it's so complicated, so far, and the colonial power is so strong, so big. But I think, and I see that there's a way, and the way, if you continue going, it may happen. So that is the hope we have, but also the hope we bring over to the people, that we have a way to get our rights back.
Okay, I understand that. I used the word early on, and when I discussed with you this whole experience, I used the word struggle, and it has been a struggle for several years that you have been doing what you've said. You and your organization have been struggling to get that recognition for the people. Um, what are some of the struggles that you have gone through so far? The battles, the obstacles that you have had to cross, the people you have had to face. What are some of the struggles? Tell us.
It has been a long struggle. Now I say we are 10 years later, actually, because it started in 2010. It started even before that with the referendum. That was the manipulated referendum. They used them against the people and thus deny them for the right to speak out and things like that. The struggle has been a long struggle. With us, on my side, I took a frontal stance against a system that in our islands was very like taboo. You cannot speak up. You cannot, if you're not politically allied to a group of some higher elite groups, things like that. If you speak out, you have a problem. I even didn't know those things because I was, see, but this is not right. And when I stand up to start speaking out, then I realized there's a big system to keep you silent on these issues.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's where the real struggle started. And I end up then to have to stop my professional career. I was a professional banker. I worked for years. I was on the top in the management, and then I realized I stepped in a field that where it's not, you're not allowed to deviate from some kind of political agenda that is being established by the elite or whoever is behind the scene there. So, but I did it and realized it, but I decided to give up um, my normal life, meaning I abandoned my job as a professional worker and then become a full-time volunteer to fight for this. I think as a right that it belongs to our kids, our future generations, because I could be living today normal. However, because I understand things, I can survive, I can live. I don't know about them. I don't know how the future will be if we don't do nothing now. So I'm here now. I feel I'm responsible. So that's what the commitment I make to myself, to nobody else, and say I have to do something. And I start doing it. And with time, a lot of things happen with time. Over the years, so much happened. I think it will take us so long
long time
go through to
go through all of
go through
the
all those let's say struggles, but I give an
challenges.
example. I give you some highlights then about this short highlights. There's a lot of things happening, um, happening during the time. For example, they organize a voting on our island. Um, we have a right to vote for the elections, but what that means is just a democratic trap. They say you can vote, but our island we have 10,000 votes. And if we all vote, all of us together, was not possible to vote for one person, one candidate, we'll never have 1/10 of a seat in a parliament with 175 seats. So it's just say, a, a, a joke of democracy, things like that. But we stand up and we say, we organize a counter campaign and say, we've kind of do a protest voting. So we take the voting cards and do our own voting publicly. Everybody get crazy, the whole island, the whole kingdom. They even want to send police for us, but it was my right to do with what they want with my right to vote. You tell me I have a right to vote, so this is my right to do a protest. So it was a big, and at the end we burned all those things. They got so upset all over, but it was to show that you don't mess with us because we know what is wrong and what is all right. So that's things that we did. And one major struggle of movement we did because they said you self choose for this. That's why they're telling us. So they have the right to do, but we never did that. Then we said we need a referendum, but politically was it not possible to get a referendum. Political parties has to agree to a referendum and make a referendum law to organize a referendum. But politically, it was so controlled, divided, whatever. So I decided then that we have to protest against this. We collected first thousands of signatures, of about 3,000 to 4,000 signatures on an island, about 15,000 and 12,000 people. So it was, so that is unprecedented, so big, super, but they didn't respect the petition of the people that we take about 3-4 months, day and night collecting, explaining to people, going house to house, asking their signature for a referendum. They didn't respect, so then I decided to go in a protest. Walked all the island over with a group of guys, about 12, 13 people. We walk as a protest day and night, and then we come back after passing through all the neighborhoods of the island with loud, powerful media and music and shouting and things like that. We won the referendum, and then we came by the government office, and there I said, you need a referendum for the people to say we said we wanted this, we want a referendum for this. Then the governor told me yes, but we cannot decide that. I said, okay. I said, who decided? The government and Holland says, okay, then we will wait till we decide. We won't leave here. So we start a non-stop process in 2014, November, and stay there for about 8 months. I refused to leave day and night to protest there. And it's the middle of the city, so it become a big shame for everyone. But with the protest boss occupying the government building, I stayed there 8 months. I lose the job, I lose everything, family, everything, to do that, because it was, I said, I saw there's the only way maybe we can. I said, we'll never leave till you give us a referendum. So at the end, after 8 months, the new government came up, they decided to give us a referendum. So then we stopped, then I stopped the protest. And that referendum took place in December 2015. And 6% of the island came out, and we fight, our group are not politically allied, fight with the whole system against the whole imperium, actually, because they send money for them to fight for the yes vote. They put all the political leaders on the island to campaign for the yes vote. They put all the experts from all over come to explain to people. We only take them on, and we won. We won, meaning we won the referendum with 66% no. But, so that was a big struggle, big move. And somewhere during all those years, there's a lot more, but it's giving you some example of, you asked me to struggle. So that is one. Yeah. And then the people actually rejected this. So that's things we did. And then they didn't respect that. They didn't respect that this is, they didn't respect it. So we decided then to move to another platform. We decided this has to be internationally known what's going on. And that's how we start the trajectory to the internet. Our undemocratic situation.
All right. Let me ask you here in terms of the struggles you have identified, quite a number of the struggles. I recall some time ago seeing you being handled by the police for protests, but I could imagine the struggle was real, the struggle was great. Yeah. Let me just shift gear a little bit by asking you, what level of regional support are you getting from human rights colleagues?
Well, we didn't. Okay. We did not. Yes, I understand the question. So okay. we did not step into the human rights. How you call it? The human rights mechanism 100%, because we are seeking. That's the way we want to go to, because we need the support from that side. What we were seeking is the re-enlistment of re-inscription of Bonaire as an island, as a territory back on the non-self-governing territories of the United Nations. So we understand, we learned that the United Nations has a special chapter section for islands like us, and in the Caribbean are lots of them. I see, like the Virgin Islands, the British and U.S. Virgin Islands, like the Cayman Islands, like the Bermuda, and so a lot of the islands, Antigua, Anguilla, are on that list. And what that list means that the United Nations is part of the relationship. So the islands are not by their own against the superpowers that normally dictate and do whatever they want. So that is where we are now seeking our trajectory to be recognized as an island that has lost its autonomy, lost its power to govern, lost its self-governance. We cannot govern ourselves. We're being governed by another power from over the ocean. So that is where our aim is directed to be relisted back on and fall under this decolonization and guardian by the Special Committee of Decolonization of the United Nations.
All right. Excellent.
We speak another language, Papiamentu, and the other language is also the whole Caribbean.
All right. Let me again take it further.
We are working hard to get it to that international part. So the human rights part is a part, I think, that we should also seek to give us the attention and support, because self-determination is a human right. And all those right of development, all those rights are attached to us. We have the right to maintain our way of life, our culture, our things. That are things that are rights. So we think there's a way that we can be helped truly from the region and with our struggle.
So what kind of local support are you getting? And probably you could also tell us in terms of what kind of connection or association does the organization have with international bodies like the UN, the OAS, and all the other human rights organizations, regionally I'm talking about, as well as internationally?
We don't have an international. I would say we don't have international representation. We don't have that. The islands, our islands are say secluded from international participation. All our relationship is going through the Netherlands. Yes, so we have no right and it's actually for international community. This is internal matters.
So I understand.
They cannot come. So we have
there's no opportunity for you to have that.
You have no representation nowhere.
Okay, so
we're unrepresented.
Yeah, I understand that you have taken this matter to the United Nations. Tell us more on that, and I guess I also understand that they may have responded to you in regards to giving you a hearing. Tell us more on that as well.
Sorry, ask a question. Can you ask again? Sorry.
The United Nations, you have brought your petition, your case, your complaint before the United Nations. Tell us more on that and the fact that they would have granted some time to present your case before them. Speak to us that.
No, okay. No, we're not there yet. We are seeking, we are aspiring to do that. To present our case, it is a road, and that road is, we did a major step just now on that road, because the United Nations or any country cannot come and say get involved in our issues because it's internal matters,
Okay. Oh,
internal
internal.
issue. So
Okay.
so
Okay.
so so that's
I
why
see.
we had to do some other movements before we get there.
Okay.
So one of the possibilities we have to say to expose, you know, what's going to happen is for us to do an international investigation, that international assessment that will verify, will investigate the relationship if it is according to international criteria and standards, acceptable, minimum accepted by the United Nations and the international bodies, law, etc. And
Mhm.
that investigation of assessment, we took about 2 years, more than 2 years to get that. Why? Because it is investigation they do with governments. Normally,
That is organizations.
yes, the first time they do it with a NGO, a civil society organization, because we are determined that we have a way to get out of to do something with our situation. And the first time they did it with an organization like us, but it cost a lot of money. So we had to raise funds
Uh,
because we are not a government. So we have been raising funds for about 2 years to get that. So we just, when we're talking today, last month, that was finalized.
okay.
There's the international. So now we have a tool to take a next step in the structure
Yeah.
that you're asking me today. So we are take a next step in this trajectory, because with that, um, other country can look in our situation and understand that our situation is not according. Yeah, as a next step can be get involved, and that is one of the only small, say, holes of windows of hope that is there for us actually, and that is where we are in now in a position to go through that window to get our situation exposed and understood, because it is in the language, international language done. I
Okay.
speaking today as an activist or a human rights fighter, but then internationally I cannot come in that platform and say this is happening. No, it need to be done. That to
All right.
on the road.
Okay. All right. We just about have just a few more minutes, and let me ask you, in closing, what would you like to see happen when it comes to human rights solidarity in the region? And what's basically you talk about your next steps, but in regards to human rights solidarity, where each organization supports each other, and to how we can work together, network, and so on. Speak towards that as a human rights tool going forward.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to do the play to all listening all over. Um, we understand we are now fighting for human rights everywhere, and I respect that we on this island are on the most lowest stage of the human rights, the lowest stage, where the first fundamental right of the human is democracy and self-governance. From there, you build up. We are not there. So all other human rights are shed if you don't have those simple, most fundamental. Everybody doesn't worry about it anymore because that's not a discussion. So we are forgotten, or we are just hide it and put it in this whole discussion about human rights. So I think that we want, we're pleading, we are appealing on everyone that let's help, because let's help us, let's help these islands to straight that out, straight that part out. And I think the only way it always have worked is by unifying of international attention, international pressure on those structures. That's the only way to break down all those systems is by the people internationally say this is not acceptable. So that is where I think, I feel that the human rights organization can help us to jump that impossible wall for us, because for us it's possible. We are just putting behind something that we cannot do our own. So we really need the help from all people, all not people, all Caribbean people, and all who 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 fighting for rights, of human rights. That is how I think that it can be done. That's why we're talking, because that's why we thought we need to have our people in the region understand there are things that basically have to be fixed, and fixed meaning that their rights of these people has to be put straight. And then we can move together to other platforms of, of, of fighting for the next rights. But we want to start by the simplest ones, that is right to democracy, right to develop, right to maintain. So those simple ones we want to help. I think that's the way I think it has to be. And I think, thank you so much that you guys want to bring this message out, and then to support us in our struggle, fight for our rights.
All right, James, I want to thank you so very much for taking some time to have this good chat with me today. And I'm certainly going to promote the cause. It's from our standpoint at Conception News, we just to let you and probably let our listeners, viewers know, Conception News is about news, information, and activism. And we are so happy to share your struggles, to share your challenges as you and others within your organization continue to fight for the rights of the people of Bonaire. So once again, thank you so very much. And from my side, we want to wish you all the best. Keep fighting, keep the struggle on, and I'm sure there are support regionally, and there are people otherwise elsewhere who will stand with you to ensure that the people of Bonaire experience true and real freedom and democracy. Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you for the opportunity. We welcome any support.
Okay. All right. Thanks.